Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8 o'clock a.m. You are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. The first thing I want to tell you is that I know how you feel. You're very happy today. You woke up happy. You feel great. The reason why you feel great is because it's Friday, and you're probably going to do some cool stuff this weekend. So you made it through the week. So congratulations to all of you. It's a really nice day outside. I've got the weather for you, and we're going to deliver that to you in the next couple of minutes here. Today on the show, we're going to talk about all of it, right?
Yes.
We're going to do it all.
Yes.
We are. We're going to save the world in an hour. We're going to talk about poetry, life. We're going to talk about an island in Aurora. We're going to talk about glamping, too, which is something I just learned. It's really fancy camping.
Yes.
Right.
Upscale camping.
Upscale camping.
Yes.
Okay. They're like, ooh, Curtis, let's do that. Princeton Ellis, good morning. Eugenia Shante Youngblood, good morning to you. Jennifer Ryan Mayton, Eddie Torres, great composer, musician, and producer. Good morning to you. Daniel Calderon, big brother. Norma Peterson, good morning to all of you fantastic, wonderful people. Our guest today is I Am Genesis, poet.
Yes.
Author. All right. And she has a special edition Poetic High event coming up, and her book is Thunderstorms Were Meant to Be My Friend.
Yes.
So we're gonna talk it all out today. Now, before we get into that, as I mentioned, I want to give these people the weather.
Okay.
Because y'all need to understand something. It's going to get hot next week. On your screen right now, ladies and gentlemen, is the weather, Aurora weather. So today, we've got a high of 79 degrees. Tonight's nighttime high will be 62. Tomorrow, look at that, 86. 71 degrees for the nighttime high. Sunday is going to be hot and humid and 93 degrees. Sunday night, 72. Monday is going to be 91 degrees. Oh, Lord. Look at that.
91 degrees.
91. Cooler near the lake. And Tuesday, hot and humid with a high of 94 degrees. So the heat is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Be ready for that. All right. So first things first. I'm really glad to meet you again. And talk over things. And as we talked about before the camera, or excuse me, before the mic and everything came on, the soul of poetry, expressing oneself, and where poetry is going and
right.
Expression are a couple things that we'll also touch on today. But for the record, please let everybody know who you are and where you're from.
Okay. So I don't even know how to answer that question when it comes to like where you from, because I'm kind of from like all over. Okay. But my name is I Am Genesis. I say I Am Genesis, 3'YEM _ Genesis, like the first book in the Bible. If you don't know how to spell Genesis, then you're not reading your Bible enough.
Okay.
So I say I Am Genesis because women are the beginning, because we create life. Anything a man or anybody gives to us, we make it 10 times better.
Right.
When it comes to creating life with children, when it comes to like keeping a home together, and, just being a village and taking care of our children and our own mental health is already enough.
Right. And speaking on that, it seems like the mental health issue, especially for ladies. Yeah. That's taken more of a predominance nowadays. Like right. I see more stories. I hear more stories now. I'm glad about that. And how does poetry help you express that?
Well, to be honest with you, I am a veteran.
Okay.
So I was in the Army.
Shout out.
And I went to Iraq for 13 months.
Okay.
So when I was in Iraq, a lot of things were happening, and, I made it out. So I'm really excited about that. Life is great. So you look at life a little bit differently. But poetry really was like a essence on like keeping my mind together while over there, and realizing how grateful I should be for being in America, compared to being in Iraq or Afghanistan. Women's rights and things like that are like non-existent over there. Same with like here, you know, it's starting to become like a thing. Like there's no such thing as men rights.
Right.
That's not a thing.
Exactly.
It's only a thing for, you know, women, and you have to play different in the military because it's a predominantly male environment.
Hyper male culture.
Yeah, hyper male culture.
Yeah.
So you have in between. You can't have an in between. It's just you just have to always be like in that mindset.
Right.
So poetry was like kind of an outlet for me while I was over there, and as well as I had some issues in previous relationships, like domestic violence, which my book also talks about. Like thunderstorms were meant to be my friend, because there are lessons in that you learn to understand your worth and your value. So I began writing poetry because it was a way to cope. A lot of people use other mechanisms to cope, maybe not the healthiest.
Sure.
I've dabbled in that myself, like on just being unhealthy in certain coping mechanisms because I didn't know anything differently.
Right.
Because what you're exposed to in your environment, you think is kind of normal.
And you'll reiterate that for yourself.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then you pass that down to your future generation. So like we're out here, especially as Black people, we are breaking generational curses on a day-to-day levels.
Right, word up. Yeah, we talked about that. Okay, yeah, yes, absolutely.
So that's really,
cracking them.
Exactly, and it's a little bit, it's a lot harder, you know, than you think, but you know, it's worth it. At the end of the day.
I'm curious though too. When we do talk about those generational, so I'm gonna stick with that just for a brief moment for the listeners though. I see the generational curses need to be broken.
Yes.
But kind of in hindsight, because my dad just passed away, and I'm looking at everything, thinking about what I didn't like as a kid, and what I loved and missed. I look at it and I think those generational curses that we need to break, unfortunately, for our elders or ancestors, it was all they had.
Right.
You know, and I wonder, like, are we currently now, as we're breaking them, are we currently are we losing anything in the process? Is there the danger of that? I believe in breaking the curse, but is there any of the seasoning left on the bottle that we should maybe think about keeping?
No, I think it hasn't worked in all these decades, years. It's time to revamp and renew some things. Definitely, because if it's not working for you now, why continue to use it when we can prosper together and come together and create the generational wealth that we've been trying to create for decades? Like, It's been years, so there's no more excuse to it because we have the knowledge. That's one thing people can't take away from you is your knowledge.
Right.
Money, currency, things like that. People can take that. That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And this life is temporary. You know, we already ordained. Our story is already written, whichever road we decide to go down. And maybe sometimes we actually do stray a little bit, but at the same time, we are here for a purpose. Like everybody has their reason they're supposed to be here, whether it's a good life that they create for themselves or it's not, because all you have to do is have gratitude every day.
Right.
Because you get the opportunity to be here.
Absolutely.
You could be gone. So,
right.
Like I said, everything here is temporary. This money is temporary. People in your life are temporary because eventually everybody has an expiration date.
Right.
We're
Absolutely.
all gonna die.
I do. When you were in the service and in Iraq and everything like that, was that what started your writing?
Actually, no. So I was in a domestic violence situation that kind of started my journey when it came to like poetry and
prior
things
to
like
the
that.
military.
It was like during the military, like when I had first joined, and I kind of use it as a coping mechanism because I wasn't understanding, like, you know, like in the Bible it says like get married, be fruitful, things like that. So I was trying to really follow it to the T.
Right, yeah.
And that didn't work out for me. So I just ended up like questioning a lot of things and not really understanding myself, because as a woman and you grow up thinking like, okay, I'm supposed to be
Married by now.
Married.
With the house and all that.
Kids.
I'm 25. What's going on? Yeah.
Exactly. And that's not true. You're not supposed to be any of those things unless those are the things that you want. So,
right.
And it's not always meant for you at that time. Like you can have it, but maybe just not at that moment. You should be paying attention to something else. And as you're growing up, as me for a woman, you learn, or however they teach you, your parents or whatever you're exposed to, that you think that that's how you're supposed to be living life.
No, I understand. My parents was the same thing. I had all of those. I had the whole blueprint too.
Yeah.
But go to college, get married.
Exactly.
And if you haven't done it by 29,
something wrong with you. You looking like, dang, I ain't even got no kids yet. I ain't got what's going on and what's wrong with me. But that's not true. It's just like
I got a job, like
exactly. Right. But you really just at the time you figuring out your purpose. So you make a lot of mistakes. But the thing of insanity is where if you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, you're considered insane. Mm-hmm. So always try something different,
Right.
Over and over again and until you complete whatever task that you're trying to do.
So your very first book is Thunderstorms Were Meant to Be My Friend.
Yes.
How long did it take you to write this?
Man, I don't even know. Like, it didn't even take it just kind of came together. Thunderstorms Were Meant to Be My Friend, which is offered on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. We got Book Patch, as well as, you can order straight from me. And I do a lot of street poetry. I just walk up to people and be like, hey, do you like poetry? And then they say yeah and nay, and then I do a street poem for them and then sell them the book. So check out Barnes & Noble. I also have a book signing coming up September 16th at the Book Market in Joliet, Illinois.
Book Market in Joliet? Mm-hmm. Okay, book
September
signing.
16th. Yes,
oh, right.
You guys can meet me there and purchase a book and get a nice little autograph or whatever and some words of wisdom. So it took me like a couple of years to get it together, format it, because it's just a book of poems that I've written over the years, and I just kind of put them together in one off of lessons that I've been through. So it talks about military stuff, it talks about domestic violence, it talks about promiscuity. I can never say the words. I also speak 2 languages, guys. So it just talks about things that women go through.
Right.
They're thinking, I remember somebody told me once you break up with somebody, you got to jump under somebody else to get over that person. They never really technically talk about the healing process that you have to go through.
Never.
And my last relationship, I've put a lot into it. I overly give sometimes, and it kind of messes you up. So you have to unlearn those things as a woman and realize who you are. You're the prize. You are going to give this man a baby. You're going to give them the beautiful household that they're looking for. You're going to give them that extra back, to lean on when, life is crumbling around them. That's what a partnership is supposed to be. So, a lot of people are one-sided when it comes to, the stature of what a man is compared to what a woman is.
What do you mean by that, one-sided?
Compromise. A lot of people, I'm not going to say all men, but the men I've personally dealt with don't like to compromise. It's they feel less than, I guess, a beta man or simping, what they call it now, simping.
Right.
But that's why wouldn't you want to simp with your woman? Cuddle with her? And
you're supposed to. Yeah.
Why would you want to cuddle with a man unless you're gay, bi, or whatever that you're into? But that's your family. That's your home. That's the person you're supposed to be vulnerable with and loving on and things like that. And I don't think a lot of men out here need healing and to understand not to just be jumping from one relationship to the next or jumping in one bed, because those sexual spirits carry a lot of unhealed energy that you're going to carry once you with that person.
Yeah.
Their karma is yours.
We should have done a special edition of the pre-microphone talk.
Yeah,
because we did chop this up. We chopped this up in a small fashion, like I was mentioning to you about I'm a single parent and having more kids and all that. It seems like right. Yeah. Oh, many people do it. Well,
it shouldn't be done like that though.
I'm not many people. It doesn't. Right. Not really feeling that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I do think that. So I talk about expression right now with your writing and everything. I started writing a book but didn't finish it. I did feel, and I still feel, and this kind of took over everything. So in my own personal way, it's kind of like my writing. It's a good way to get rid of or help deal with a grieving process or a depression process and things like that. And I think sometimes maybe you find that, unfortunately, when a relationship ends or something like that happens, when you find out, like, you know what, I'm so focused right now.
Tunnel vision.
I've got tunnel vision,
Yeah.
and I can, on the one hand, purge myself and clean out the dust in the cabinets mentally and emotionally and all that.
Exactly.
And when you are hyper-focused, you can tell your story in a way that makes you maybe like, wow, you know, all these new memories and things are coming back, and I should have done this. I can do that. I think it's very liberating.
Exactly.
It's very liberating. So let's detail some of the book right now.
Okay.
Yeah, no. You know we was gonna do that, did you?
No, I mean, it's cool. Like, I don't mind. I'm selling the book, so buy it.
Well, chapter 1. And I love the chapter. So chapter 1 is an idle mind is the devil's playground.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, so if you're like thinking like, oh, I'm supposed to be in a relationship and I just got out of this relationship, I used to feel guilty for getting a divorce. I used to feel really guilty because all the women that I would hang out with be like, oh, my husband doesn't want me hanging out with you because you're a single woman now. So you doing single things. Like,
ladies, leave your man at home.
Right.
The club's full of ballers and their pockets full of growth.
Yes. Right. Leave your man at home. No, I'm just saying. But it wasn't me that wanted to divorce. It was him that wanted to divorce because he wasn't ready for that type of commitment. And we kind of grew. And then we were really young too. So it was just something we was walking into that was different. And we just wasn't meshing. Plus, I met my ex-husband in Iraq. So
it never really works out when you meet a...
Right. Like a stranger, you know. So they're kind of a stranger. But it's like, oh, we might die out here. So we should like get married and have kids. Like, that's kind of what it was. Very naive and gullible. And we were very young. So, but I love my kid from him. But, you know, I don't even... It's funny that I'm saying this now because I was thinking about it. Because you think during that time, like this is what it's supposed to be, the be all. But we have so much life left.
Right.
Like, and so if you're living all the way to 90.
You don't realize that when how old were you in the service when you joined?
I joined at 21.
Okay. I turned 21 in boot camp. So, we're about same age and everything like that, and you don't know anything,
nothing at all.
You think you got it all wrapped up, right?
But
you don't.
It is nowhere near where you need it to be. Even now, like I find myself like learning stuff like as I continue to age, and I can see where I've marinated a lot on on myself with like self-love and care and the things that we're supposed to be accomplishing on a day-to-day basis. Like, what is your purpose?
Right.
How are you here to help the world? How are you here to help the next person that's coming behind you?
Absolutely.
You know, that is our mission here. Why? Because like I said, everything here is temporary. And people don't understand that. So it took me a while like to get into the mode of remembering like who I am as a person. And a lot of people walking around here lost.
Right.
Thinking that they're supposed to validate somebody else is supposed to validate them.
Right.
When you're supposed to validate yourself. Like,
yeah, looking for their soulmate. It's like you got a whole soul of your own.
Exactly. So you cater to that, and once your soul is healed, you will have that attraction to you. Like, law of attraction is real.
Right.
So if I'm going to the gym every day and eating healthy and getting my body together and going to therapy, yes, I go to therapy because you're supposed to go to therapy. That's self-love, self-care. And promote all these positive things, it's a boomerang effect. You're going to get positive energy back. And I strongly believe that. And some people are like, want to be sitting in misery and want to be miserable when they have all the power to change that. And it has nothing to do with currency, money. And it doesn't have nothing to do with anybody validating you. It's all about self-love.
Right. And the next chapter is self-sabotage. Very self-explanatory, but detail that a little bit.
Self-sabotage, like I went through, what is it called? I always think of the name. It's called imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. If anybody don't know what imposter syndrome is, you don't feel like you belong in a room with other people.
I just learned about that a couple years back because I hadn't been familiar with that. I just learned about that a couple years back. And it's
real. It really is. And you will sabotage yourself a lot of times. Like if somebody comes to you and you're like, oh my God, this is too good to be true, with anything. And then you don't believe that you deserve that. That's what imposter syndrome is. Like how you don't believe that yourself doesn't deserve. You deserve the world. Like what do you mean? Why don't you deserve it?
Yeah, that was tough for me to grasp. Mm-hmm. Never to discount what someone else is feeling or going through, but it was difficult for me to grasp because like as a young black man, my parents, ironed on my brain like all the rooms are for me.
Wow.
Yeah, like there's no room I can't get in. There's
yeah.
With representing myself, as the best human being I could possibly be. Mm-hmm. I'm supposed to be there, and I've always had that kind of perception. And I interviewed this great young lady, Sandra Gonzalez. This was a couple of years back, but and she mentioned dealing with some young people who are having those hangups with imposter syndrome and things like that, and kind of like the law of attraction,
right?
I believe like you applied for the job, you in the office,
exactly.
Hey, right there you go.
It happens. It happens for you.
Yep.
And so that's what the self-sabotage was about, talking about. Because for the longest time, I didn't feel like I belonged in certain rooms. And it's like, where does that feeling come from? Like, really look at it.
Now, I want to ask, is that because, was that because you're a woman, or was that more manifested or magnified by the trauma and the things you've been dealing with?
I think it just has a lot to do with the whole shebang of being a woman, or have to, because I don't believe that I would have to go through those types of things or issues if I wasn't a woman. I would have been like a little respected a little bit more in service. I've been respected a little bit more when it comes to jobs. Like even now, like filling out for regular jobs, they say I'm overqualified. Like I have a degree in pre-law. I was like LSATs and law school and all that stuff, and I didn't want to finish that because I wasn't interested anymore right now. Maybe later on in life I'll be interested. I still have plenty of time that I think that I have.
Right.
But, I was not interested in it, so I'm overly qualified.
Oh, wow.
Right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to get somebody out of the office. That's strange. All right. Chapter 3, Promiscuous Woman. Can you detail that?
So, being promiscuous, that is like really like, so how do you date as a woman? Do you know? Like, I never knew what dating was, like, seriously. I've never cheated on anybody. Because I thought, like, if you date other people, like, that would be considered cheating. If you're in, like, this one very naive and gullible young lady, I was. So I really thought, like, at the time, like, you're dating. I didn't think you should be dating multiple people because I feel like that's too much going on. But honestly, what I've learned as of recent, you're supposed to date multiple people. You don't have to sleep with them. That's the difference.
Right.
But you're supposed to date multiple people to really see, like, who's down for you and the cause, like, who's going to invest in you.
Right.
See, like, a great future with you. Know that you're going to have a bag all the time. Know that you're going to be willing to, like, we're going to build this empire together, like, create this legacy for our children and our children's children. I want to be able for my kids to be like, oh, my grandmother, Abuela, is made these sacrifices for us,
right? And
we have this together, and my abuelo is the same way. Like, we like a match. And I feel like I, wasn't running into that, but being promiscuous was just, I can sleep with or do whatever I want to do now because I'm single, and just kind of going around and, not thinking about if that woman or another woman is with that man and not really caring and because you've been hurt. And that's a true statement. Like, hurt people. Mm-hmm. And during that time, like, I was going through a lot. And I'm sure some of the people that I was talking to, they were married or they had a significant other. And I was like, I don't really care. Like, they didn't care about me. Like, she stole my husband, or
right.
It was just like a mental thing, but you like kind of grow from that. So promiscuous women, like, and you think that you're supposed to do that. Like I said, like, if you break up with somebody, you're supposed to crawl up under somebody else. And I've never been interested in that because I have to have
the whole replacement. Yeah,
because like I gotta start over. I gotta meet your family and stuff.
Right.
All over
What's your
again.
favorite? Yeah,
Color,
where'd you go to school?
Like, what you eat?
Yeah.
Like, who is these people? Like, who want to do all of that? Like, no, I'm not. So I just date and just be around. But they say it's promiscuous for a woman to do it, but it doesn't have the same effect on men. It's just like,
yeah,
it's a slippery slope to be in between. So, just going around and being promiscuous with guys and stuff like that, and just treating them like men would treat us. Like, I smashed. Yeah, that was cool, but I'm cool.
Right. That was Tuesday.
Yeah, that was Tuesdays. That was Tuesday's fun. I'm on to Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, what's up?
I'm curious a little bit. So, the military, especially.
Yeah, definitely that.
I don't think the average civilian really like understands. Like, I didn't see, my parents had divorced before I joined the military, and I had, seen some crazy things, growing up and going to parties and all that. But it wasn't until I joined the military that there were dudes with whole families.
Yeah, cheating.
I mean, they had, the picture with the Timmys on the skateboard, and they got Disneyland, and here we are in Peru.
Yeah, and then hanging out with the natives.
Right? And it's insane. Or now that we're in San Diego, he got a whole family here. And I never saw, that was the first time that I saw like that, like, holy cow, like people have entire lives with other people that don't know.
Exactly.
This guy's wife has no idea
that he has a whole nother family.
That he bought her a whole car. That's crazy.
Exactly. And it's tiresome. It's just like, you don't know who to trust.
You don't.
Who to be real with.
And and that will help you, and that will make you cynical.
Yeah.
It'll make you cynical because you're thinking like, okay, well, yeah, why should I have a girlfriend?
Exactly. Why should I have a boyfriend?
What's the point of having a girlfriend? Like, I'm out to sea. Mm-hmm. She's back there.
Yeah. And people really think that. And a lot of times I've myself personally, I can't speak on other people, but you be sitting there waiting for this person thinking like, oh, this is the person I'm supposed to be with, and you're being a good one. Like, not cheating, not doing anything, just staying to yourself. But everybody's so non-trusting nowadays. It's just kind of like.
And I think that's where, and I think ultimately that's the sad reality of it, because like, you could have two absolutely great people who are good for each other, but because of past experiences or past thoughts that they're having about somebody else who they don't even talk to no more, that excess kind of negative baggage is now in the new relationship that you're trying to build, and that's unfortunate. It
is. And then it's the same thing with like kids. Like, I don't know what it is with guys, but as soon as like if we start dating, they want a kid. Like, why? Why is my uterus like for you? Like, I understand, but I don't even have a ring on my finger, and you asking for a kid. Like,
if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it.
Exactly. Right. Like, where's my house? Where's my ring? Where's the stuff, the foundation I need to raise this egg? You know what I'm saying?
Well, does that not go back to what we talked about the dating process and dating a few people? Maybe you want to know if this. Maybe she may not want kids and you do. So I'm gonna say this on the first date. How you feel about?
Yeah, I get it, but. It's just like too much. It's like really scary. It's like, ooh, no.
I do, and it's a serious thing, and it's not to be joked with. You're going to be with that person forever.
And this baby mama culture is not attractive at all.
What do you mean by that? What's that?
Or baby daddy, baby mama, like going around busting out kids with this family, and then go over here and have multiple.
No, that's a no.
It's not attractive at all, and men think it's funny, and not all men, but a lot of men. Think it's cool, like just to have a baby with somebody and just not look at the marriage aspect of things because you're building together. That's just like one thing. Like my last relationship, like I had moved here from Hawaii. I know it's kind of crazy. I had moved here to be with this guy, and he just was he had commitment issues. I'm pretty sure because he's used to being like, I guess, a player or playing around, and I should have knew some things was up like beforehand. But I give people the benefit of the doubt, and I'm too trusting sometimes and too giving, and you know, I guess he was just into, like, you know, his friends or hanging out and being a single bachelor all the time. And I'm under the impression thinking, like, men don't like women for real. They honestly probably, you know, DLs and stuff like that is what I'm starting to think.
No, it's everything else that it's everything else that we're talking about. It's not having, perhaps for a lot of people, it's not having a healthy relationship to look back on and be like, okay, I'm gonna try to imitate that. Or and this is a kind of a newer social media culture that's really, I feel, breaking down that it's the predominance of trying to be on some flyness with the girls and getting right. women on materialistic stuff, and as opposed to
building with that woman.
Exactly. So I don't think it's dudes on the DL. No, it's just they lack any kind of concrete communication skill, or want or desire, and that's what it is. They'll do the least as opposed to doing the most. You know what I'm saying? Like who the toughest thing to do as a guy before social media was to go up and ask a girl for her number. I remember dudes, we would bet, like, I bet you won't do it. Like, that used to be the measure. Like, is he gonna walk across the skating rink
and talk to this girl,
ask her for her phone number?
Yeah. Now they could just jump in your inbox and be hitting
and that's
you up
it.
like
and that's
all
where
day.
It's at.
Like every day they got they favorite 5 or favorite 10. They message every morning, "Good morning, beautiful." Like,
right.
They get my nerves. Like, I cannot stand it. I'm just looking for my person. Where's my person? Like, my soulmate. Where is he at? Like, I'm looking for him. You know, hit me up. Like, you know, let me know where you at. Like,
what about? Hold on, wait a minute. Let's scratch it up.
What?
What if? And I don't know if this is the answer, but what if there is no soulmate? There's just soulmates.
So, like, poly?
No, like just people.
No.
And maybe you don't believe that? Okay. All right. The time is 8:32 a.m.
Okay.
I don't know. I used to believe in the soulmate too. Oh, my soulmate. And I thought I found my soulmate. Then I joined the Navy and I thought I found him again. Then I thought I found her again.
And that's how it keeps going. It's annoying. It's like I said, I gotta keep meeting your family over again. I gotta keep pretending.
And each time it feels right.
Exactly.
And it's like maybe, and that's just me, and I'm like, maybe there is no soulmate. Maybe like some of the best people who I met that I still talk to and we still connected, maybe we're soulmates, and it has nothing to do with the whole romantic part, but I could be wrong. Totally. Hold on. Chapter 4 is generational awareness.
Okay.
Detail that.
Generational awareness, like what we was talking about, generational wealth. We was talking about generational curses. So if you're aware of all those things that you need to change the way that you parent, the future to come. So you're trying to remember like how you felt when you were that age, or and how can you deal with whatever that kid is going through. So you're creating like this generational to the next level.
Right.
And you have to be careful on what you teach your kids and how you teach your kids if you have kids. And for generational just awareness period, just knowing that my parents didn't have the same information that I currently have now.
Right.
Like the internet didn't exist like this. Like phones, I remember having a Walkman, a beeper, and things like this.
I remember that.
Yeah, society has come so far compared to like YouTube didn't exist. Like
the beeper,
right? We didn't have like Facebook. We didn't have none of this stuff like even existed. So like we had generational. I appreciate my parents, even though they did a lot of crazy stuff, but they didn't know no better.
Right.
Like, what do they know? Like, my grandfather, he's 85 years old, and he lived on a plantation in Mississippi. And he met my grandmother in Florida when she came over from Cuba when she was like 17.
Right.
When he went to visit. But he lived in a plantation, on a plantation.
Right.
Like, that was 1938.
Right.
And he's still alive to talk about it. So that's why I was just like, kind of like, generational awareness. Like, you have to be aware that your parents didn't have the same access that you have today. You know, they weren't able to do certain stuff. We're talking about certain rights that they didn't have.
Right.
Like, as Blacks, African American, Latinos, whatever. They didn't have the same opportunities that we have today.
Right.
So, I mean, you have to be aware of that and forgiveness in your heart for whatever that they did not teach you. Because how you gonna mad at somebody that they didn't know? They didn't know the same way you didn't know.
Yeah. That just happened. Well, it didn't just happen to me, but yeah, my son, we were talking one day, and basically we started having the race conversation. And it was at that moment that, because I had my grandmother, who was like in her 80s when I was like 9 or 10, gave me the race conversation. And my son was about the same age. I think he was 10 at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's no way I can tell him what my grandmother told. It just didn't feel right to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not with that alacrity.
Yeah.
So we'll revisit that. You know, I gave him enough spice, but like that, generational awareness. I'm far more aware now. Like, I know exactly what she told me, and I don't think that's right to pump in the head of this young 10-year-old boy right now. I'm gonna just hold off on that right now. I'm gonna just wait on that.
But it sits there. It's like, but it's real,
It is.
It's like, when are you gonna? It's like the sex talk with your kids. Like, when is the appropriate time to give that to them? When is not the appropriate time to give it to them? So you just need to be aware. That's all.
And then chapter 5 is euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Well, euphoria is like, you're just like, so I smoke weed, guys, sometimes. And it's just like a relaxing, to remember to relax. You also enjoy grounding. If nobody knows what grounding is, like, take your shoes off, walk through the Mother Nature. Earth is here, so you can put your spirit connected back into the earth. Also, like, hug trees, because they take away negative energy. They're here for a lot of things. And, I grow butterflies, by the way, monarch butterflies.
Okay.
Because they're endangered currently. So I
got a lot to you. Okay.
I release them every year on Zoetic Island.
Okay.
And I'm also like harvesting milkweed to habitate them. So if you can see something, if you don't like people, that's cool. You don't like animals, that's cool. There's always some way that you can give back. And I give back as, harvesting butterflies every year and growing them and sending them out, and hopefully they survive, and adding to their environment to make sure that they're still here.
Building,
exactly. So it's like a euphoria of, just life, just being grateful for all the things that you do have.
Norman Peterson says grounding is so beneficial to the body. Thank you very much for that, Norma. Tracy Duran's here. Good morning, GAMS fam, and happy Friday. Betty McNair Youngblood says good morning.
Good morning.
Juan Cayetano, good morning to you. Wishing you a very good weekend as well. Princeton Ellis. I don't think we said hi to Princeton Ellis yet. And Eugenia Shante Youngblood says grand rising and good morning, Genesis. I'm so proud of you, friend. Oh, we appreciate that. Julia Lindberg, good morning. Thorun Matthias, good morning. Alejandro Ibarra, Vanessa Rodriguez Aguirre, Sean Franklin, and Marissa Amoni. So many great individuals here. Okay. So you had a grand opening on July 8th.
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can hit that for you. Tell us about it.
So it's 5814 West Grand Avenue.
Okay.
I have another show September 9th.
Okay.
It's a Poetikai Presents Puffin Poetry, so it is 420 friendly.
Okay.
We have some dope poets because my vision, if anybody ever seen Def Jam Poetry back in the 90s with Mos Def.
I remember that.
I used to watch this show religiously, and I used to love, and that's where a lot of poets, actually songstress was created, like Erykah Badu. We had Lauryn Hill.
Yep.
We had Jill Scott. We just had so many great artists that were on the show. I've actually even had Red Storm, who was on the Def Jam Poetry back in the 90s. He actually came to Poetikai Presents Puffin Poetry last year for our 420 show, and we was in the Chicago Tribune. So it was like a really live, lit show. You always come, speak your truth, speak for the voiceless. It's a non-judgmental zone. So if you crying that day or suicidal thoughts, get on stage, let that shit out.
Absolutely.
And, puff on some poetry with us. Like, that's what the whole idea is, to come and just really speak to the people. Like, it's somebody in the audience that may be going through the same thing that you going through, and they don't want to talk about it because they embarrassed, or, they just in a place of numbness where they can't talk about it. So Poetikai Presents Puffin Poetry is definitely a place where people can come express themselves, get on stage, let it out, and then puff on poetry, hang out, kick it, and we just have a really good time. It's just really one of them places that just kind of helps you with just life, or just being out and free.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Exactly. So that's what the platform is created for, like Mos Def, and just getting these poets out here. Because poetry is not the same as it, like songstress, the top number one. So we have to change the narrative of that as poets and create our own avenues to support poets that's coming out here and put them on the mainstream level, like Maya Angelou.
Right.
Give
them they shine.
Exactly,
Absolutely. Come on. Yeah.
So, number one billboards for like rappers and singers. How come we don't have, much of that in the poetry community in the mainstream? So we're like continue that. We have like Black Ice doing like the poetry.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the Poetry Oscars, like it's September 2nd. Then I have other people.
The Poetry Oscars?
I guess it's something like that. It's like Black Ice is September 2nd. I don't have the flyer with me.
Okay.
But I know he does that every year for like the poets and things like that. And I'm really new to the Illinois scene because I was doing poetry in Hawaii and Atlanta, where I was at for before I got back here to Illinois.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely a scene. I love poetry. Poetry saved my life. It helps people with this dealing with like suicide, thoughts, ideations. And it's really a release as well, to write things down and to really see what you're talking about. To just kind of put everything together. So I always suggest people to write stuff down. Like even right before bed, if like your mind is going 100 ways, write that shit down.
Right.
And go to sleep.
Yeah, we used to do this thing. We used to write these things. I don't know if anybody still did, called raps. I used to write, many raps, and then after a while, I realized that, like, you know what, it doesn't sound like how I wanted it to sound, and I would change it. And sometimes my raps became more poetic. They became longer, and everything happened. The subject matter changed.
Yeah.
And all that. So it's healthy. It's a good way to purge.
Exactly.
It is a good way to clean out your soul, your mind, and everything. But you mentioned the address is 5814 West Grand Avenue.
Yes.
In Chicago.
Yes.
Okay. Now the next event, and we have the flyer for this.
Yes.
I'll show you guys the flyer, and we'll post this on our.
Thank you.
On our everywhere too.
It's also like so I have my co-host Radio Rail. He's been rocking with me on OG Radio when I originally got to Chicago. I met him through Facebook, and then we started doing Poetikai Thursdays on OG Radio, which is also my DJ, Mr. AK, who's the producer of OG Radio.
You got your own DJ? I got mine too. Don't they feel good? Go ahead. Yeah. Shout out to the DJs.
Shout out to the DJs. Like, he keeping pumping and jumping at the shows. That's actually Princeton Ellis who jumped on. That is my DJ. for Poetic High Presents Puff and Poetry, but he's also the producer of OG Radio Entertainment. That's how I met him on his platform. He gave us a platform.
Shout out OG Radio Entertainment.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
He gave us a platform to do my poetry on. And ever since then, it's just been, he's definitely supportive, and we support each other.
Nice. My DJ in the chat right now, Josue Pais, DJ Venom, what is up, big dog? Valerie Trainum, good morning to you. Jose Art, good morning to you. Alicia Hahn and Ernest Young. The time is 8:44. I want to let me see here. I'm going to read a little bit from it. Getting ready for our 8th show. Poetic High is excited to announce feature poet Geronimo Speaks will be in the building, puffing on some poetry. He has released 3 spoken word EPs.
Yeah.
Geronimo is a Chicago native coming to speak his truth and speak for the voiceless. Open mic list available upon arrival. The QR code is on here. And you got this like on a PDF or something, like a picture you can send?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And we'll make sure that we do this. It's September 9th. The show starts at 8 p.m. Doors open at 7:15. And general admission is $25. The VIP puff pack will hit you for $45.
Yeah, so if you don't have your own smoke, we will. The vendors will provide that for you.
I'm just crumbling herb.
Yeah.
I'm just crumbling herb.
Yes. What'd you say earlier? Herb? What? What'd you say?
Urban words.
Urban words. So we have an urban words night. Thanks to Curtis.
Urban words.
Yes,
yeah,
urban words.
I love that.
I'm liking that.
Marissa Moni says, such an inspiration. Writing is therapeutic. Absolutely. Absolutely. And shout out to Boss Babes. Marissa and our dear friends, Nora Peterson and many others, had a great event for Boss Babes. Saw the pictures, so keep it up. The team is growing. If you want to be involved and join Boss Babes, contact our friend Marissa. So when it comes to giving a voice to the voiceless, and you take a city like Chicago, which has had its history of artists, entertainers, the Chicago Defender, that historical newspaper. It's always amazed me that with so many people out there doing so many great things, it does take average, everyday working people who are kind of in the mud with these folks to do that self-help and promoting each other. And I've always felt like that does so much more, than any of the mainstream big dogs could do, because they're going to come, they see the flashy object, right? The new rapper, the new thing, the new dude.
Material.
They see the flashy object. They pick the flashy object up. They put it there, let it shine. And then that's it. They have no real tie in. They have no buy-in. They have no skin in the game. So it takes people like you to be like, okay, this person's dope. Let's work with each other. And then that's how you rise together as a community. It seems like a lot more of that is taking place in Chicago. I see a lot go out a lot and everything. So I see a lot more of that. What's your feeling of that and of people helping and supporting each other? Do you feel it's growing?
Yeah, I do. I honestly feel like we should be sticking together, especially as like they used to. I don't know. I feel like I still hear this comment, crabs in a barrel, when it comes to our community, like African American, blacks, whatever you want to call yourself. And because they don't want to see you get to the next level because they feel like you're leaving them behind. But it's the nitty gritty of the work that's involved with it, and not to think that somebody else is against you. Like, we have to change our mindset first before we're able to like really connect and work together as a community. And I'm starting to see like that change, which is great. Like Martin Luther King Jr. said, like, I had a dream, and this dream is like prospering now, where we seeing like the black community stick together, like the Montgomery brawl that just happened. Yo, like them chairs, like I wanted to really do like September 8th, like I'm doing like a puff and
you doing a chair thing?
I want to paint some chairs, yo. I'm really thinking about like hit me up at 3'YEM_Genesis on Instagram, or Poetica POETIC_HY. If you guys are really interested in painting these chairs for the Montgomery Bar, because I'm really thinking about buying a bunch of chairs, and then we could just have like a paint and puff day. Like we could smoke and paint some chairs and keep them for, just a souvenir type deal.
Some
like
just in case.
Yeah, just in case weapons, like, because, gun laws.
Right.
However, Yeah, I do see a change. I do definitely see a change. And I'm proud of our people. Like to see us coming together finally, because we don't always work well together, but we could build some empires around here and scare the crap out of some people if we can bring our stuff together, like networking, and we'd like really learn how to build wealth.
Yeah, that's how this show started. I had my own kind of. I always liked the news. I always wanted to be on the news. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. But then I always saw so many people doing cool things. Yeah. But they were never the people who got the shine. They the news came and always went to the pet parade with the mayor in the city. They the big dogs. They gonna get the news.
Exactly.
But it's like there's so many people wrote 10 books. Ain't nobody interviewed them.
Yeah.
People got Curtis. I was the first triathlete from wherever. Ain't nobody talk to you. Like, that's amazing.
Exactly.
And it's like, man, who is giving these people a shot? So that's how this show started. And speaking your truth was the other aspect that I thought was important too, because people would come on and be like, I interviewed a couple pastors and they're like, can I talk about Jesus? I'm like, of course.
Right.
Duh. Yeah, whatever.
Whatever you're doing. Yeah, let me know. What's the message to me?
Yeah, exactly. What's the message? So kudos. Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, you dropped the Instagrams for the folks, and you're also on Facebook.
Yes, Genesis Silverman. Like I said, the first book of the Bible. Please read it if you don't know how to spell it. It's Genesis Silverman on Facebook.
Okay. All right. Very cool. The time is 8:50 a.m. Mary Foltz says, changing your mindset makes a difference. Absolutely.
That is true.
It's like one of my favorite movies, Pirates of the Caribbean, when Jack Sparrow told dude, like, look, the problem is not the problem. The problem is how you're looking at the problem.
Exactly.
Like, you know what? You change your mentality. So many other things will open up for you.
Exactly.
Maria Chirito, good morning to you. Betty McNair, Youngblood, good morning to you. Our motto is together is better. That's Mary Foltz. Unity is key to any success. Betty says, I'm 70 years old and learning about life from you. Wow. Well, thank you, Betty. Well, that wasn't for me. That was for our guest. Thank you. BTP, good morning. So what's next?
So actually, I'll save the best for last. So I am redeveloping a land in the middle of Fox Valley River. Mm-hmm. It's called Zoetic Island, ZOETIC. It rhymes with poetic, so you can't forget it. It's Zoetic Island, LLC. So zoetic.island.llc on Instagram. I don't have any other Facebook page, but we are available on Hip Camp. So if you like glamping, which is upscale camping, hit me up on there. The glamping won't start until the end of September. But before then, you can go out there, fish, as well as put your tents up and hang out and be in a peaceful environment. What I really want to do is create like a meditation center with the singing bowls, some yoga, some relaxation that you can do out there and kind of be one with earth and nature again, like with the trees, the grounding, things of that nature, because a lot of people need that. So if you're interested in, you're interested in camping, go to Hip Camp or Zoetic Island LLC on Instagram. I'm trying to build like a tiny tree house there for like small weddings, as well as small weddings, birthday parties, and what else? I'm sorry, my mom keeps calling me, guys.
You can do a lot in the tree house.
Yeah, we're doing a lot in the tree house, but it's like really a theme, and I really wanted to bring Poetic High out there eventually and do the poetry shows out there. Okay. But if people want to go and have like a very creative space where they're taking great pictures, I'm have like the bird houses out there, the butterfly habitats out there to release the butterflies. So right now it's available for booking on Hip Camp. And if you go to the Instagram page, Zoetic Island LLC, then you also find us on there. I sent you some flyers.
Yes, you
so you can send those out to redevelop this land. If you guys want to donate, you also can donate to my Cash App, because all the money I need really goes to Zoetic Island. So every time you buy Thunderstorms Are Meant to Be My Friend, it goes to Zoetic Island. So, and
for the listeners, Zoetic Island is what I think was formerly called Heard's Island. It's the island that's right there off of SciTech.
Yes.
So the behind McCarty Mills, you guys, where the walkway is inside 57 back there, where Joseph Weber takes his pictures on the bridge. Shout out Joseph Weber. And where me and my son used to ride bikes down there. And when I found the dead animal back there, not on Zoetic Island. Zoetic Island is that big, beautiful island, and we have the flyer for it.
Yes.
It looks really good.
And I've been redeveloping it for the last 3 years.
It's looking good. It's looking good.
Thank you. Check it out, guys. Support the cause and help our monarchy butterflies as well, because we need them. They're here for a reason. If they go extinct, then what? What are we going to do?
Right. So the time is 8:54 a.m. I think we saved the world. What do you think?
I think so.
I think we did. In an hour, we snapped off. We did.
Yeah,
we got it. We got it. Really done. Daniel Calderon says, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the day. Air and Water show this weekend in Chicago. Yes, that's correct. There is. The Blue Angels in Chicago this weekend. What's your plans for the weekend?
Man, so I have to do some work for Poetic High, presents Puffin Poetry, of course, and I have a booking this weekend for the people on Zoetic Island.
Okay.
So I'll be out there hanging out with the kids, of course. I don't know. I kind of just let my day go, especially like retired military.
Right.
I don't really have to do like
all that
all the time, but just getting my links and stuff together and. My book signing's coming up, just kind of wherever life kind of takes me. But usually I'm with my kids and we spend a lot of time together. So I'm going to be with the kids this weekend, and we're probably going to have a mommy-daughter day with my daughter because my son is going off to his family for the weekend. But everybody's blowing up my phone this morning.
I know, the phone is blowing up.
That must mean something. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing this weekend. I really appreciate this opportunity, to get on it and
no problem.
Tell you about all the platforms I got going on, and I do need some support. I need some help, guys. So if you willing to donate or help me out, with a show or buy a book or listen to some poetry, support the poets. We out here. We really trying to get our platform up, and I know I have some great poets. My very first poet that I'm just in love with, his name is Travesty. And he was in Hawaii, and he's one of the dopest poets that I ever met. I talk about him in the book as well. And Entice, those are my two people I always go to when it comes to poetry. Here, actually, I have a couple poets that I really love in the mainland. Her name is Mother. See, I'm kissing all on this thing. Her name is Mother, the creator, and I just love her so much. Who else that I'm just in love with their poetry and things like that? We had a poet, Prince of Poetry. He came and supported the show. We have Darlin Mickey. We have Hood Rays. It's so many great people that I've met over the last couple of years. I don't even have time to go to everybody's show, but I really try to show love and be a mom and an entrepreneur, and just being a woman, period, is just always a lot. And I work out a lot too, so keep your mind clear and straight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, we will continue to share the good news.
Okay.
As you know, we're connected. You got my email, so keep sending us everything you got.
Okay.
We have Zoetic Island, so we'll make posts about Zoetic Island
Yes.
for the people here. This one too. If you send me the digital one of this, I will make sure to share that as well. So the next one, don't forget, guys, is going to be September 9th, 5814 West Grand Avenue in Chicago. Go ahead, take a field trip.
Yes, you guys can buy tickets at the door if you do not want to buy them online. I prefer online because it's easier to keep track of everybody with their tickets and things like that, because I'm only one person.
Right.
So it's a lot easier.
The show ends on a positive note.
Yes.
What is your message today for all the great listeners out there?
Ooh, he just did hit me with one. I would say, man, love God. Yo, if you hate him right now, if you mad, cry it out, scream, yell, because he's not, I swear to God, he comes on time. He may not be when you want him, but he's always on time. And always promote love and make sure that you go within with yourself and really see what your purpose is, and ask him, because he's going to tell you what your purpose is, whether or not that you like it. If he takes something from you, it was meant. And to accept that and just to keep moving, because he obviously has something better for you on the other side. If you just be patient and listen, because like I said, we have a lot of time left on this earth that we think we do. And we definitely have to appreciate the fact that he gave us this opportunity. Now, if you're not even in the spiritual realm, it's the same thing. Like, the divine is going to bring you whatever you put out. So I encourage you to self-love, go to the gym, work your mental, read some books, and make yourself better every day. Don't worry about anybody else. Always come to you first, because you're all that you have. Nobody else is going to love you or take care of you like yourself.
That's right. The time is 8:59 a.m. Amen to that from our dear listeners, Betty McNair, Youngblood, and Aisha Saxon. Jose Pais, have a blessed weekend. More love, more good vibes. Give me a copy, Mr. C. That's word up. I said that's word up. We appreciate you.
Thank
very
you
much.
Thank
It's a
you.
good conversation.
Thank you.
I knew it was going to be. I'm glad we met.
Me too.
I'm glad we met.
I'm glad we did. Do they have my Instagrams and stuff like that?
Hold on. You know what? Let me put that in the chat. All right. What's the gram?
The
Your
gram.
handle?
Which one?
Give me both. I'll put them in the chat right now.
For I Am Genesis is 3'YEM.
Okay.
_ Genesis.
Okay.
And it's going to be at Poetic High. It's going to be POETIC.
POETIC.
_HY.
Okay.
And of course, Zoetic Island.
All together?
No, it's ZOETIC dot island dot LLC.
Okay.
And then Genesis Silverman on Facebook. So those are all my platforms that I have, of course. And, if you checking out, like I said, Zoetic Island, go to hipcamp.com and just type in Zoetic Island in the search bar, and I should pop up.
All of the IGs are in the chat, you guys. Go ahead and add our dear friend Genesis here, and we look forward to supporting Genesis and shouting out all of her events. Once again, 5814 West Grand Avenue in Chicago, and Zoetic Island is here in Aurora. All of you great people, remember, Good Morning Aurora and Buenos Dias Aurora will be off all next week. We are going to a very important conference in Chicago the entire week to learn from our partner organizations like NeighborWorks how we can deliver the best outcomes and results in affordable housing for all in our community. We will be attending workshops and working with like-minded professionals to raise the standard and quality of living for every human being. Take care of yourself and each other.